Welcome to the final here of RCGP Round 2. It's an hour of fun for everyone. This is something different. Frank, just turn it that way, and I'm going to... No, not you, the camera. Frank's just turned round. Turn the camera, you moron. Anyway, right, so this is where the real work's done during the course of the event. These are our mechanics. So, how important is your role, John?
It's the most. I've got to keep the boys fed with water, I think. It's going to be a very long race of attrition. I don't think it's going to be a bit of a tortoise and a hare job, we're hoping, because we're definitely not the hare. So we're coming as the tortoise. We're going to play that card. Our stuff is normally really reliable, so touch wood. We'll just see what we can do.
So drinking beer is a good thing. So coming further down, we have Beat. Yeah. Who are you actually on the fuel gun?
No, I'm holding the car.
Holding the car. So it's Mr. Ongara on the fuel gun.
No.
Well, apparently no one is fueling up Davide.
Yeah, see.
Good stuff. Mr. Hess. Max. Everyone's put. We need to find Mr. Hess. So you're very happy. So you have the key job of putting the fuel in, or are you holding the car?
Yeah, fuel in.
And have you practiced for hours? And
One. The car and fuel in. One.
Oh, just you?
One person.
Oh, look at that. It's a miracle in human form. Fantastic thing. Let's see if I can find some more. Here's a famous mechanic. We'll go over that way because we can see probably with... you come all this way, not to race, to a different country, just to put some fuel in the car.
Exactly. That's good. It's better for me, Nana, to only pit compared to run, drive, prepare my car. I'm too busy for that.
All right. So are you the lifter or the fueler?
I'm the lifter. Yeah.
So, what's the most important job? Is it lifting more important than fueling? Or?
No, I think that the dad of Juan Carlos is used to that, so I don't want to confuse them. So I can do that with.
Great. So I'll just move on one more to the most famous fueler and lifter, because he's also a world champion in his own right, Adrian Bertin. Adrian, give us, how much practice do you do at this pit stuff, or do you just turn up on the day? Have you got David running around laps? You're practicing the pit stop?
No, we did it at the start, but now we do so many races that today everything is pretty organized. We make a couple of tests during the practice, and then let's see what happens during the race.
It's very hot. How is that going to affect the engines and the fuel consumption?
Yeah, it's very difficult. There is traction, so you have to be on the safe side of the setup of the engine. But yes, normally we have worked to be ready for that condition too. So normally everything should be right.
Great, thanks, Adrian. Just over here we have Jake. Now, Jake, what I've noticed is that you've actually spent the entire period since the last race pitting for other people, which kind of means, have you actually done any work on your own car?
I did manage to glue a new set of tyres with green wheels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the key point I was coming to. So you have done this pit stop work. Do you think it's the lifter or the fuel that's more important?
The fueler, but I did it alone, so I did both.
Obviously.
I'm right-handed, but I use the gun in the left hand, because when you do it this way, it's faster that way.
You're a walking miracle, you really are. Don't forget this is an anti-clockwise track, that's why. Let's see if I can find it. The drivers are all hiding, you see. I've attacked the... So let's we wander around, we move this bit. There's Elliot over in the corner. Elliot, come here, just to get me a camera shot over there. Elliot, am I right that you are the only person to be disappointed not to be in Superpole?
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, with an hour, anything can happen. It's going to be a hot, long race.
I mean, we talk about the endurance part, but I mean, I'm sorry you live here, Mark, but this is the hottest I can remember doing a race, and you may have had some international experiences where it's warmer, but it's 35 degrees.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. And there's not many races like this, but we just have to just deal with it and do the best we can.
Great stuff, thank you, Elliot. Just going to move across to the person who's probably going to have the most trouble. This is the man I feel most sorry for. It's boiling hot. You've got to race an hour on one leg.
Yeah, it will be hard. I'm a little scared about that. So I'm here to race. I took a chair for a little help me during the pits or something, but it's super hot. I think it will be hard for everyone. For me more, but it's the same for everyone.
I don't know too much, but is the leg actually giving you pain? Is it hurting?
Not a lot, but after 20 minutes, it start to be. I have pain, and it's not easy to drive in this condition. But
okay. And we'll finish with our pole man, Juan Carlos Canassi. Well done on the Super Pole. You are starting from pole, therefore, well, be an easy win.
It will be super difficult. 1 hour here, this hot is super difficult, but we will do our best.
You're from Spain. You're used to it being this hot.
Yeah, but where I live is less warm.
Less warm.
Less.
Always less warm. As one car goes. So that's kind of a view, a spirit, talk around the pits before we start the 1 hour final. We may have something special for you as far as inserts during the race is concerned. But let's go back to Keenan to pick up as these guys fire their engines for the warm up.
And we are back and getting ready for the 60-minute final. And this is going to be a grueling test for these drivers. You heard Zancatin talk about his leg. He's feeling pain after 20 minutes. It's hot. Fuel mileage is going to be an issue. Tire wear is going to be an issue. But we have, starting up front, Juan Carlos Canas, Davide Angara in second. Well done for the young Hampusberg. He'll be happy with that third place finish. Tom Robin, great run. In fourth. Elliot Boots in fifth. Lee Martin in sixth. David Runnefalk not happy with seventh. Zancatin in eighth. And Joseph Quagrain in ninth. Leonardo Valente in 10th. Max Hess in 11th. And Kevin Brunson in 12th.
And this time, of course, actually it means something because it's not a gate start, it's a grid start. So obviously all starts have an element of randomness in them, Lefty, but this one, of course, is a bit less random because you're starting in line. So looking at the points overall, David Runnefalk has the red numbers. He's taking the overall lead. He has a 47 points. Joe Bornhausen and Cole Tollard, of course, are not at this event. Ongara's already on 30 with 25 points to the win. It is not unheard of. It will take a bad result for David for actually Ongara to take the overall lead today. And Ongara has looked a lot happier here this weekend than David has. Hampusberg putting in a great performance so far this weekend. Certainly, I think the surprise, him and Tom Roban have both been way above where I thought they were going to be so far. He's put them on 11 points. Horn, Heckert, Vale, we won't see them again probably till the fourth round in the States. Lee Martin, constant scorer. Elliot Boots has picked up 21 points during the weekend. Leo Valente, completely anonymous today, but he could do something in the final. Juan Carlos Canas obviously had a bad final yesterday, but he's on pole for this one. So that's 14 and 15. Cody Watson not appearing in this film because he's back home in the States. Now, of course, one thing it doesn't matter who turns up and doesn't is the team event because you always have two representatives. S-Works, they are leading at the moment by 98 points and 94. The slight gain by Scuderia Scampi Rossa, team associated with Ongaro scoring well and Tom Roban doing well today. They're just 4 behind. This could very much this could go either way. You can't really predict which one who'll be leading at the end of round two. Mayako on 74 would need a miracle to get to the lead, and problems the other two. And then you've got Beach on 56, Nemo Gar on 47. They would hope for a good result. Lee might have a bit more luck. They'd have a few more points. And in Visual C, JQ, SM. In fairness, JQ has looked very good today. He's been out in the front on several occasions, so he must be due for a big win soon, a few pints of points.
I wouldn't say a win, but maybe better than last.
I reckon top 5. I think JQ could get a top 5. I think wily old fox in this weather, a little bit of luck, and you could see JQ in the top 5. I'm not putting money on it, obviously.
Well, he drives conservative enough.
I'm going to ask you a question because this is and I'm not asking you to win. It's very hot. It's an hour, or 58%. How many cars will cross the finish still running competitively? So not less than 3 laps behind.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We lost quite a few in South Carolina.
Yeah, and I think I'm saying 8. I think
really.
8 cars. I think the heat will get to the cars and the engines and everything else. We've not had anything longer than 20 minutes. The longest final had so far is a 20-minute final for with tripling that into unknown territory. So my feeling is that could definitely be very, very difficult for everyone involved.
Yeah, I'm still contemplating Ungaro's choice to run super soft and I asked him again. He was up there gluing them, and he says, "Yeah, I can just do it." I guess he's relying on the ability his ability to drive on both super soft tires at the end of the race. So we shall see. Tire attrition is going to be key here. You're going to probably see a lot of guys just save tires, and I think it's going to come down to a battle of attrition. But let's see how many cars finish. Maybe they all finish. We'll see. Technology has gotten a lot better, but heat and the elements will do it.
Okay, now it's a chance for us to meet the runners and riders for the 1 hour, 58 minutes and 2 lap main final here on RCGP Round 4. And first off, in the only numerical order, in fact, is our leader in the points tally. It's David Ronnefalk, the Viking, the Swede. Let's say hello to David and find out how he's going to approach this final.
For an endurance final, it's all about being there in the end. Even if you get a bad start, you just have to keep your head down.
Well, we all know that the Viking did that in South Carolina. Can he do it again this weekend? He's had a bad weekend, bad luck. We shall see at the end of 60 minutes.
Next out, of course, it's Lee Martin, number 12. Lee has a lot of experience in long finals. Let's see what Lee's going to do in this endurance final.
In the endurance final, I'm going to try and be consistent, smooth, try not to make mistakes. Hopefully other people will.
And Lee looked good in South Carolina as well. He's looked good all weekend. He had mechanical issues in South Carolina. It took him out early. Hopefully he finishes today and see what he can do.
Great performance yesterday. Been anonymous so far today. What's the tactics for Leonardo Valente in this endurance race?
In the endurance final, I'm going to try to be as consistent as possible.
Yes, Leo was very fast yesterday for the Beach RC team with his S-Works car. Hopefully he can find that speed today and finish his 60-minute final.
So next up, we will have the man who's on pole. He's won Super Pole. He's won one of the rounds. It's Juan Carlos Canas. Is he a clown? Is he a winner? What's he going to do for the
finals,
endurance
my
race?
plan is start safe and after not do mistakes.
Well, I think they'll be glad he's starting safe. Everyone else in the field will be anyway. They cut across left. You want to say exactly the same thing. Who's next to introduce themselves to us? And it is, of course, the Frenchman Tom Robert, Associated Scuba Racing. Great performance so far today. Tom, how are you looking at this long final?
For the engine final, I stay back, and after I give my best to fight with the best driver.
So next up will be Alex Zanchetin, the man who I feel the most sorry for because he's trying to do this on a broken leg. So he's basically standing on one leg with kind of support on the other. Alex, apart from just surviving, how are you approaching the final?
In the endurance final, my goal is to finish the race.
Yeah, he will want to. It's going to be difficult for him. He said after 20 minutes he's feeling some pain. He's got to be up there for an hour. Tomorrow he gets the cast off.
Next up, the man who knows more about endurance races than anybody here. He's just done a 24-hour at Nürburgring, and he's done a 6-hour at Paul Ricard, but this is just an hour at the Ospy Team. Hello, Max Hess.
Endurance final will definitely be a long one. It's very hot out here, so try to keep the head cool, and then we will see where we end up.
Max has been very impressive this weekend as well. For a part-time RC car driver, he's doing very well, and full scale meets RC.
And the man who, surprisingly to us, but not to himself, got himself into Super Pole, starting third, it's Hampus Berg.
In the endurance final, my plan is to just take it calm. If I get a bad start, I just don't stress up.
And Hampus has looked good all weekend. He looked great in the Super Pole. He's comfortable with his car. I would like to see Hampus get a top 5.
Next up is the man who had a great Friday with a win in the rush, a reasonable yesterday with a second. It's Elliot Boots. He's a local boy. How's he going to take this hot hours final?
For the endurance final, we're going to play the long game, see how it goes, see where we're at. But same as sprint race, I'm going to do whatever's necessary. And once we get in a good position, we'll bring it home.
And our next driver will be the man probably who, despite starting second, is the favourite. It's the hometown boy. It's Davide Ongaro. I'm listening today because whatever he said, it's going to be golden.
Yeah, for the long final, we will try our best. We'll make one less fuel stop than the other, so we try on
consistency and drive also without mistake for the long main final.
Well, what can you say about Ongaro? His record speaks for himself. Favorite going into this, I would say.
And it's next car out is the late replacement of the Argama team. It's Kevin Brunsden. Kevin, you have the 8 on your side. What about long distance races on your side?
In the endurance final, I'm just going to go for it and try and bring home the win.
Send it without responsibility. That's my motto.
That's always good when you're the only person in the heat. And finally, it's for the JQSM team. It's JQ himself. As I've said, impressive today. How's he approaching this final?
In the endurance final, my strategy is to endure. I wait for everyone else to break and DNF, and I'll finish 7th.
He definitely drives conservative enough not to break.
I said 5th, not 7th. So, you know, we kind of agree. That's my favourite quote of the weekend. So it's just JQ will take the car back to the pits, and he will then bring it all in, and then they're going to go straight out, and we will start the 1 hour final. It's on. Out they come, and it is 58 laps, 58 minutes, 58 laps, even longer, 58 minutes plus 2 laps. So that's a pretty long run. So you're looking at 59 minutes. People are struggling to get much past 7.5 minutes, so it's going to be at least 6, if not 7 stops. Stops have got so much quicker these days, though. Max Hess has got a problem on the line. He's flamed out. We're going to have to restart Max's car. In the 15, it is running, so just a simple flame out. Luckily, he's running. He's going to get back into position in 11th. Let's watch them go. Down and quiet. And they're away. And straight away, it's Canas into the lead from Ongaro. They've gone off really in order, with Hampersburg keeping 3rd. And kind of a drop back there. And I think in 4th, it's Robin, but he's kind of a little bit of a delay. 5th is Ronafalk, and 6th is JQ. Then a huge gap then to 7th place, which is Boots, and 8th place is Martin, 9th place Brunsden, and the rest of them come through. Last place, unfortunately, is Hess, who's just behind, I think, Zanchetin. I'm not quite sure if last is Zanchetin or Quad Green. They're both very similar at the moment. It is, in fact, Zanchetin who's got that 5th place. And ready a problem for Ronafalk. Ronafalk's flamed on lap 1. There's just no luck for that man. And he's trying to get restarted now by Adrien Bertin. I can see that. So the car is being restarted as the race continues on. He's going to lose at least a lap. He did actually roll over the timing, but it could be all over already. Bertin can't get it started, and they're coming across the finish. The 2nd lap already as Ongaro and the S-Works fight each other. And we may even have a bit of information. Let's see what's going on. It's panic all round as they try and start the car again. Fueled up. She's running, but they've lost 2 laps. Oh, honestly, Ronafalk, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
Felix, what happened just now with Ronafalk?
His fuel line just broke.
Unfortunate bad luck.
The pressure one.
He has 60 minutes to catch up.
I think he's going to need about 60 days, to be honest. But thank you, Keenan, there on the spot in the pits, reporting for RCGP. So the pressure line, that's a line that goes from the exhaust pipe into the tank, and that actually pressurizes the fuel. So effectively, it's kind of like a virtual fuel pump using the pressure of the tank. But the net result is that we have a 1st and 2nd battle, which doesn't involve Ronafalk, and this could be a case where we do see Ongaro take over the lead of the championship, because he's going to pick up some points as he has a problem himself. But 1st, 2nd down the line, it's Canas and Ongaro, who I have to say, really, it's been all about these two this weekend, with potentially possibly Boots as well. But there's been a right amount of beef between them. Ongaro very, very unhappy with the starts in both the finals yesterday from Canas, so much that they called him a clown. He was upset. I've never heard Ongaro swearing. He was swearing in English, which was quite interesting, about how he after he won. So he's upset after he won. I hate to think how it would be if he hadn't won. They come round to produce another lap, and they are nailed together. It's the 23, the red car of Juan Carlos Canas. In 2nd, it's David Ongaro. 3rd, still going really well, Hampersburg. 4th place is Tom Robin. Then it's Zanchetin, Boots, Martin, Valente, Brunsden, Quagreen, Hesse, and a long way back, David Ronafalk. But right, again, the battle is joined as they fly over. It's a case really where it's hard to tell. It's easier to follow than to lead, and that obviously does give a little bit of advantage to Ongaro. And certainly running a sort of, not destructive, but kind of a defensive run there from Canas. And they go around the Italian corner over the ditch jump. Up and over the quad. It's a 3, it's a 2. Brake hard, so there's no gap underneath for the associated Scampi Rosso car, the blue and white machine of Ongaro to get through. This is super early stage. We've already lost Ronefalk effectively from a chance of winning. He isn't a chance of getting some points because obviously he's lapped down, and we may see a number of people having problems later on in this very hot day, but everyone's not going to break down. So that's the issue. There they go. Up and over, first and second nailed together. Been running now for nearly 4 minutes. So Ongaro half a second behind. The time is immaterial because you can see the gap here. It's a case where it will ebb and flow based on where they are. And Canas, again, looking, it's interesting. Canas is kind of a way where you can, certainly in 12th racing, it's quite a well-known fact, you can actually sucker someone into a mistake in that if you go just a little bit wider around a corner, they'll try and cut in, and they tend to cut in too sharp, and they'll tend to hit the barrier. So it's something we've all done in a rather unpleasant way sometimes. If someone's right on your tail, you think they're a bit quicker, the only way to get rid of them is make them have a crash. I'm not saying that's what Canas was doing. And it's a roll. So immediately a problem for Ronefalk. Ronefalk rolls. So it's all going against type so far. Comes in at the end of the landing that. Yes, it's unfortunately on a camera change. But as he landed it, he just turned too sharply. Because what he's trying to do is get up the inside. He's trying to think, I can get up the inside. I can annoy Canas. And it's now a 3.8 second. Now, the interesting thing is now, we'll find out over the next couple of laps really whether the basic speed of Ongaro is that much quicker than Canas. Because obviously he's now not sitting on Canas's tail, staring at the wing. He is in clear air, effectively. And Canas himself just doesn't, I think it's just lapped Brunsden. So they go across this time. It was 3.847 seconds last time. Let's see where it is now. Canas goes in front of me. Brunsden goes in front of me. There is Ronefalk. So he gained 2/10, but Canas overtook someone. So that just means that basically it's probably they're going about the same speed. Third and fourth, it's Berg and Robin. And Elliot Boots is in fifth. He's not out of it, Elliot. Even now, I'm sure he's going to take it easy to work his way through. Sanchez in sixth, Valenti in seventh, Martin in eighth. Quad Green waiting for everyone to break down is in ninth. And then you have Hesse, Brunsden and Ronefalk. Ronefalk actually is quite a long way off. He's about a lap and 3/4 behind the leader. But he will, I think, with reasonable speed, be able to kind of get back up into a few places up. Right, the lead went down by a second that time. So Ongaro in clear space. And let's drop down back to Ongaro, the blue and white car. There he is. He gained a second last time round. The lead came down to 2.6. Further 4.5 back is Hampus Berg, who's going to probably go away from this race with his reputation massively improved. Tom Roban, really good work he's put in as well. But you kind of see the big names and the big beasts. And there's two of them here. We've seen a rare mistake from Ongaro. And he actually gained another 0.7 of a second on Canas. So he is just that much quicker once he gets going. But getting past on this track, as we've seen, is really, really difficult. So it's kind of a test of both speed, concentration, and the ability not to make any mistakes. Now, I get the impression there's a lot of traffic in front of Canas, and he's been held up by it. Yep, so it's gone down to 1.3. He's kind of lapping past Quad Green, Martin, and Hesse, who are together. And certainly now there are two cars in between Canas and Ongaro. One of them is a very similar colour. JQ moves out to let Ongaro through. Ongaro next will go past a very similar colour Beach RC machine of Max Hesse. But I think in this lap, that 1.3 second lead will have gone out slightly as the traffic is negotiated. Quite early on, they're lapping the cars so after about 7 minutes. Actually, in for fuel then came Canas, and in for fuel also came Ongaro. So they come in the same time. Visually, Canas a little bit swifter. So they went over 1.5 seconds between them. It just seemed a little more. It may have been actually because Ongaro is further down the pit lane. So it may have been a slight optical illusion. But I think that was a slightly better stop situation for Canas that time. But Ongaro goes back to rejoin the battle. As everyone else goes. The guys they were lapping are coming for fuel as well. So they'll be hoping they'll get released after that's happened. And down the straight goes Ongaro, and the lead actually was down about a tenth anyway. So they've managed to effectively get past a couple of cars whilst they were fueling. So one up, one down. Canas leads. He's got Ongaro getting much, much closer now. Ongaro, absolutely. Now, the thing to remember, of course, is the performance the guys have now will not be the performance they have towards the end of the race, because it's a high tyre wear environment. They know that they're running on near slicks by the end, so they're enjoying their most grippy moments at the moment. And the lead there changed by nothing. The last lap round, Carlos Canas was 0.003 of a second slower, so that's how close these guys are. But just to give you an idea, they're doing 35.5, 30.7s. You know, they're about probably 0.4 off, to a half a second off of the pace we were seeing yesterday in the sprint finals, where, of course, you had a much softer tyre because you only had to make at the last 13 minutes. The track, of course, also a little bit more broken up, but it has kept its shape brilliantly over the course of the weekend. Canas pulls away by 0.2 that time, so Ongaro and Canas settle down with this kind of gap between them. If you look up there, you can see there's the car on the right-hand side of the screen. That is Canas. Ongaro chasing him down. You'll see Canas again there, just ahead the corner. And certainly, I think through the aerial sections, I get the impression that Ongaro's gaining. Once you get on the flat sections, there's an awful lot of flat here compared to a lot of off-road tracks. You know, there's this whole section here, whilst it's turning left on the bridge, it's flat the whole way. Yes, it's bumpy, but it's effectively flat all the way around. You get this big single just here. So it's one of the biggest tracks I've seen for actual flat circuit where you're not even jumping. Yes, the cars are slightly off the ground, but that's a gain that time round. Of course, I'm sure you can visually see that. Ongaro got about 3 or 4 seconds closer. Now he's getting much closer at this point. Berg's dropped to 5th during this. Hammersberg dropped to 5th during that pit stop strategy. So Raban now is in 3rd, 12 seconds back from these two. Boots now up to 4th, and probably the favourite for the top 3 and keep it together. Everyone's still running. Ron Falk is about to come out from last place. He's looking to get past Brunsden and take the 11th place. It's all about points, and it's points make championships. There's no drops here, which is the problem that Ongaro has, having had to miss round 1 in South Carolina due to his family having COVID. Okay, so it's 0.6 last time round. It's been stretched out a little bit this time. Canas a little bit further ahead. There was a massive foreshortening as they come off the back of that bridge because they brake hard, and of course they seem to get very close together. But of course, you know, at 10 miles now, half a second is a significantly less distance than half a second at 30 miles now. And it is 0.6. And now, so that 0.4, just shy of 4 second lead, 3.8 second lead has been. Oh, now this is a chance. But that little, unfortunately for Ongaro fans, he just wasn't close enough to take advantage of that micro mistake by Canas. And Canas was able to get across the road and stop him getting past. Well, that could be awkward. There's a lap, I think that was Brunsden they lapped there. They come down the straight again. They'll be putting the power on. This is where we saw Ongaro go past Canas in the final qualifying heat. And the gap is down officially 0.2. So effectively it took about 5 minutes and a pit stop for Ongaro to get back that roll where he lost 3 seconds. So that should tell you that effectively he's by about 0.6 of a second a minute faster. But of course it's all about the traffic. It's all about how they run. And oh yeah, they come out the tunnel. And it's that only bit of aerial work before they get right down the flat. And this is all the kind of a flat touring car section to run that single up and above and over the Italian corner and over the little ditch jump here, which is more tricky. You've got to jump it and then brake hard before that right-hand turn. And then this 3 and 2, which, to be honest, all the pros have had absolutely no problems with. It's caused a little bit of consternation to some of the RC2 guys because they're both probably. The 3 and the 2 are a little bit on the edge of what they can do back-to-back, sometimes with their vehicles, at the more clubman version. So we've seen quite a lot of slap landings. We have seen a couple of accidents there by the big... Oh, and Ongaro really pushing there. He fishtailed out, drifted out to the wide, got a little bit... Oh, and that's to change the lead there. That's to change the lead there. It was a mistake, I think, and a bad landing. Now, this is key, because Canas, can he hold him now? He is faster chasing to follow. Let's see that one again. So they come in. What does Canas do wrong here? I guess touched the pipe, goes up on 2 wheels, that sends him out, and he's in the dust, and there's no drive in the dust. So Ongaro gets ahead, and let's see how he can stretch the lead. It took him 13 minutes to lead this race. He's got a 0.7 of a second lead, but you kind of feel that Canas, and you can see it now, Canas is just visually now really pushing a lot hard. Now, the question is he going to push himself into a mistake, or is he going to push himself right back onto the tail of Ongaro? And at the moment, it's on the tail of Ongaro, and he's going to try and get Ongaro to make the same sort of minor error he did under intense pressure. Now, the only time that we've seen Ongaro beat down a couple of people and get ahead of them, he's never really pulled away once he's done that, just because there's kind of probably about 3/10 or 4/10 difference between whether you're following or leading. And that's enough, I think, with the speed advantage that Ongaro may have to negate it. And you can see it right now, Canas having absolutely no issue staying with Ongaro. Now, the hunter becomes the hunter. And as they spin back left, and that's another change of lead. And we'll just let this one go around and across the line again. We'll see that one, because that was, again, they're running such a tight line. We'll get them on the straight. It's unlikely thing is going to happen at that point. Then we'll watch that one again. So they go down the straight. This one, so what happened there? So Ongaro comes into that sharp left before the jump. And then, again, it's a double pipe up on two wheels. You've got no drive when two wheels are in the air. So effectively, it's kind of honours even. One pipe hop either side. And Ongaro goes back into second place. So we're 14 minutes in, and effectively we've only shown you these two cars because it's only these two cars that matter. Under the tail, under the bridge, as Canas leads Ongaro. Ronafalk now. They both got the best. A fuel race again. Not sure whether either of them stopped the other. Much, much better for Canas. So Canas, who went in with a half a second lead, has got a lot more than that now. Just I think actually in picking up the car, this isn't deliberate. I think in picking up the car, it actually slowed the entry for Ongaro. So he just lost a few tenths. I'm not in any way claiming any sort of gamesmanship by the fuel. It's just a fact of location where they are in the pit lane. So Ronafalk's up to 9th now. So Ronafalk is climbing back through the points. Huge concentration on the face of David Ongaro. As he looks, that'll frighten all of the Americans. He's running a stick radio. Canas, though, enjoying a lead now, 1.2 seconds. So he gained about 7 tenths through the pit stop cycle. And now it's a chance of it for Ongaro has to try and catch that back up again. And that's Canas on the throttle. He must get horrendously chapped lips after a race where he's licking and moving his lips, he concentrates away. So there, so you have the Spanish lip seal concession. I think I'd hang around with Juan Carlos Canas. But it's amazing. I must admit, we have seen some of the concentration faces of Aussie races are weird. And that one was only a 3 out of 10 compared to some of the stuff I've seen. So Canas now looking a little bit happier. He did lose a couple of tenths, but he just seems a little bit happier at the moment. Ongaro, I don't think Ongaro likes the part of the track where you come out from underneath the tunnel. He doesn't like it when you start. He doesn't seem to particularly like it during the race. I mean, a lot of the drivers have said this far left is a little bit tricky. I do think that actually on a couple of the spots, there's a little bit of the track that's undecided. We are about to come up to the biggest traffic jam in history. These two leaders are coming up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars who are nose to tail, and I'm pretty sure, they are all actually competing in various different things. So there's about to be a big moment of trafficy as Ongaro makes a little mistake and drops back a tiny amount. Was that? Oh, well, it's it again then. No, apparently it's contact. I was so busy counting the other cars, I missed the contact. The problem is you can only look at one place at one time. I really must get eyes in the back of my head. So, Canas now making the most of that minor bit of contact. As he flies over. Thank you to my spotter Matt there for pointing out the bit when I was looking at other cars. It's always the way. You look away for a second, it all goes terribly wrong. And they come down now. Interestingly, it is David Ronafalk at the back of this set of cars. So they'll be actually putting a second lap on Ronafalk, which is what Canas is trying to do. His lead is 1.7 seconds. And I should think about this point. And he's got all those cars in front of us. Ronafalk is trying to, and he's got past. No, he hasn't. He's got past Ronafalk. Ronafalk's let him go. Next up, I think I'm going to say it's Lee Martin. I'll wait till he comes down past me. It's Martin or Brunsden. Now it's Martin next. Martin very sportingly moves out. But of course, the problem Martin's got is he can't actually he's racing Ronafalk. So that's slightly different. So he's kind of got to let the driver through without letting the second car through. And actually, Ronafalk has just pinged past Martin. So there's now a problem. There's two cars who are fighting tooth and nail in between Ongaro. Ongaro's also got Martin as well. So Ongaro now has a car between himself and Juan Carlos Canas, and that's Ronafalk. And at the start of the race, if I told you that Canas, Ronafalk and Ongaro were going to be lying astern, we'd have thought they were all on the same lap, but they're not. That early flame has taken Ronafalk out of the equation. Now Ronafalk, and big accident over there. For that was Excuse me, Henningberg. That was Hampusberg going off there. So Berg's had an accident. It's kind of cleared a couple of things off. There's a bit of a disjointed rejoin. It's quite hard to work out. In fact, Berg's car has crashed and broken after that accident against the wall. Leads a second. Tremendously confusing what's going on. Valente now, but there's Robert in between. Robert obviously very kindly moves out of the way of Ongaro. So you're looking now at Canas. Let me just say, behind they've managed to negotiate most of the traffic. If you go slightly wider, that part behind him is indeed Ongaro. So Ongaro and Canas are line astern again. They will be coming up to Valente quite soon, but the confusion that's happening around those 5 cars having several different battles obviously caused a lot of problems. Ronafat will gain another position because Berg is off the track at the moment. I don't know what's happened to him. And the first two are right together. So, we've calmed down. We've been going for 18 minutes now. We're actually going for 90 minutes. So the first 20 minutes is just seeing these two duking it out, tooth and claw. They are about 15 seconds behind the third place man. That is Boots. So Boots has picked up third quietly without saying, oh, now Ongaro's right on Canas's tail as they came through there. Oh, it wasn't. It was another blue mark car. That was right up the tail was Valente, but Valente let through Ongaro. Ongaro is now right on Canas's tail. So with the car jumping off the track there as they come into the end of the quintuple. Up and over. Looks like Berg is out after the big accident. It's a disappointing end to a very good weekend for Hampus. He just kind of lost it. I think lost it maybe like a runaway or a throttle stick or something, because he just slammed the fence about there on the track just at the end of turn 1. And that car is receiving some attention in the pits, but I'm not sure if he's going to rejoin.
Servo is going up, and he will be out of the race, unfortunately.
So Hampus has gone out. As we hear
Hampusberg has broken a throttle servo. He's out of the race, unfortunately.
Well, that kind of explains why he slammed the back fence so hard. It's because he wasn't actually in control of the speed. So throttle servo problems for Hampus. Oh, a mistake by Canas has taken him out of the equation. He's rolled over. Quite seemingly innocent roll, that one, under very little pressure. So he comes in. He suddenly what seemed like a really weird situation. He just cut that corner slightly too much, tipped it and rolled. So Ongaro is now our leader, and by 3.3 seconds, but he's coming in for a fuel stop as well. So fuel stop for Ongaro. He's come up sort of a lap earlier than Canas. So he needs to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes at this point, because he's effectively got a nice, comfortable cushion of a lead for the first time in the race, and it took him 22 minutes to get it. There he goes. So keeping an eye out to see what's... Oh, now he's made a mistake. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Now this is going to make it very interesting if we see a fuel stop from Canas, because they both made mistakes. Where is Canas? Canas in the lead. Canas is taking the lead again. So whilst we were walking... So Canas actually did take the stop. So he was behind. Canas took the stop, and then the accident from Ongaro has put him behind again. Let's see it again. What happened there? So Ongaro, everything's going fine. Oh, he just took a jump, and then it just dived in, and he just the front wheel locked and turned the car over. That's what pressure is. These guys are under immense pressure, and it's now what? Is that 3-all or 2-all or something for accident? First and second, though, there they are. Still again, this has been the easiest directive program ever, because we've just shown the first two cars the entirety of the first 23 minutes. So for the third time, or the fourth time? The third time, I think, this is Canas is in the lead. I think both of them are sitting there thinking, if I can just get this thing to settle down. All the accidents have been because they've been pushing it so hard. They've clipped little bits of pipe and just turned the car around. They're looking for that 1/1000th of a second each time, and perhaps this is the example of why this high pressure is, because if they get to a point where they get a decent lead, they can then start giving themselves a slight margin for error. But they feel with the pressure of the car behind them, there's just no way we can give ourselves any margin for error. No chance. So they're pushing all the way. Lead last time around was 0.7 a second. I think it's gone out a bit, Tom. I think that Ongaro got unsighted by the car that rejoined, which was Ronafat. Ronafat didn't do anything wrong, he rejoined, which just naturally take a little bit of your attention away. And I think that Ongaro may have been concerned about some sort of coming together. The lead went out by half a second there. Nothing that Ongaro can't pull back. As Canas comes up to another one of the 4 cars that are painted very similarly. We took a little bit of a run up to that one. And he gets up the inside of what I assume, I'm just guessing that's Tom Roban. I'm not going to say it certainly is. Is it Hesse? I think it's Hesse actually. He comes up in between. Staying a little bit closer, so I think that's the fastest line. That obviously Valente actually. Valente, they were repassed after the pit stops. Green joins and very sportingly just puts the brakes on, doesn't get involved in the accident. JQ currently running 10th, but his concept is just to wait for everyone to break down. So Canas and Ongaro coming up towards Hesse in the other Beach RC car. And after that, I think their next target is probably Lee Martin. I'll just to check that is the 12, not the 99. That's this Brunson, actually. They've got Hesse and Brunson in front of them. The lead is 1.0 seconds, or 1 second, I suppose, then. So Canas now has 2 bits of traffic in front of him, which he has to try and get past and not lose any time in doing so. And that was very sporty. Now, that's a big gain there, because the 2 of them moved out of the way, and he had no loss at all in getting past the 2 of them. And a little mistake there on the corner from Ongaro, so that's going to cost Ongaro some time. Well, it cost him 0.3 of a second. It could cost him more than that. But so they've gone past 2 cars. So behind, there's a blue and white car that is behind Canas, but that is not Ongaro. That is Hesse. It will be Ongaro quite soon. So Ongaro, luckily, has got behind Zanchetin somehow. Zanchetin moves out the way because I think it was re-emerging from a minor incident of his own. So I'm thinking this is the point probably where the chasing car particularly gets both hopeful and annoyed by back markers. He's kind of hopeful that the back markers might give him a bit of an edge. Let's drop back to Ongaro. He's back. He's the second of those 2 blue and white cars, because he's hopeful that the traffic will help him. But at the moment, it's hindering him, and it's just the luck of the draw. It'll even itself out over the course of several seasons, but not necessarily in one race. Hesse very nicely moves out the way, and Ongaro flows back into second. Now, the good news is there is no more traffic for about half a lap, so these 2 now have a chance to have a few minutes to battle with themselves. But the net effect, that last bit of traffic, is it's a big gain for the S-Works of Juan Carlos Canas. He's now got 2.5 seconds, which is his longest lead he's got, which hasn't been involved in an accident of any sort. And they bump up and over. But obviously he's made a minor mistake, because that 2.5 seconds is gone. So it's now a lead of about a quarter of a second. So a little minor mistake there from Canas. I'm going to have to learn not to actually look at the rest of the track at any point, because these 2 just aren't playing fair in my brain. And the lead will drop down to a few tenths of a second. It's 0.7 of a second. So Canas had a bit of a 1 second bobble there. He can afford that because he's 2.5 seconds ahead. Up and over the ditch jump. And they have been running now for 27 minutes in this heat. The cars and the engines are probably okay. The tyres are beginning to get worn out. I'm sure the drivers aren't as fresh as they were when they got up there at just before 4:45. Just after 4:45, it's about 10 to 5 they started the race. So Canas goes down this time round again about 0.3 of a second. You see both the cars now as they go round the Italian hairpin. Difficult ditch jump. It's interesting. There were a lot of people trying to cut the corner, but after a couple of accidents, people decided it wasn't a really very good idea. It's a very difficult corner to cut because you have to land and turn very quickly. And perhaps it's worth it over 1 lap, perhaps if you're doing the Super Pole, but it certainly isn't worth it during a 1 hour or 58 minute plus 2 lap fight. Ongaro, it's all going well. He just completely lost it there. That effectively would have got him maximum points in Drift World. And sort of Matt's eyes lit up next to me. He loves a bit of drifting, but unfortunately it lost him about 0.3 of a second. As he fishtailed out to the wide end where, of course, all the dust has been pushed to the edge of the track. You get into that, dust is not grippy, especially as the tyres begin to lose their bite. And he just flung out a lovely fan wave of dust whilst actually achieving virtually no forward momentum. In for fuel come both the cars again. Jerome Sartell picks up Canas's car. Now, there's no loss of time for Ongaro there. So it's probably pretty much on as even on that one. I mean, because the gapping, which was 1.5 seconds, was enough time for Sartell to pick up and turn the car onto its position for refueling without interrupting the progress of Ongaro down the fuel lane. But I would say, and this is probably going to be quite proven wrong almost immediately, I think Canas has gained a little bit more again. I think Canas may well have got a couple of tenths. Let's find out. He has been in traffic since then. He's got Hess behind him, in front of him again. And, yep, he gained about 7 tenths during that fuel process with Ongaro. So you'll see our leader, Canas. He's just to give you an idea. So I'll call Canas when he comes over the jump. So Canas, that's it. He's now finished the jumps. So there's 2 cars and one of these sort of lanes of straight between the 2 of them. Up and over and running through. Now, the 2 cars ahead are Ronnefout and Hesse, and they are battling, unfortunately. So the last thing you want is 2 cars ahead battling, but Ronnefout's got through. So Ronnefout now actually got himself back up to 6th place, which isn't bad from a lap and a half down. So Ronnefout has come back to 6th. Who was that was upside down? Was that Hesse? Yeah, I think so. So Hesse's rolled out the way, which is obviously useful for Ongaro. Lead out to 2.3. He's got, again, Ronnefout between them. Ronnefout actually isn't dropping the laps. He's just kind of ebbing and flowing with the fuel stops. So he hasn't just dropped another lap from when we last spoke. He kind of got in there and did there are different fuel strategies and came back out again. Ronnefout, just for reference, is doing lap times which are about the same as the leaders, which is of no consequence or no compensation to him because he's lost lap and 3/4 to start with a fuel pipe issue. But he will carry on climbing. I don't think he'll get as far as... He's got a long way to go, actually, to Robin, 12 seconds. He might make that one, but of course, as you climb up, the people you're trying to beat are faster and faster and faster. So we remain in the situation where Canas is leading, across the line now, and Ongaro is sitting behind Ronnefout. Ronnefout's now going for fuel. That's going to help the visual imagery for Ongaro. But Ongaro looked a little bit ragged, actually, came onto the straight that time. He just kind of gave it a little bit too much throttle. There is an element where the chasing becomes over-driving, and I'm be surprised that it's going to happen with Davide Ongaro, but everyone gets rattled, and you're obviously much more likely to get rattled when you're under pressure and you're very, very hot. You know, they've done tests on this, and the human brain efficiency reduces with the amount of heat involved in it, which obviously eventually ends up in heat stroke and eventually death. I'm not saying anyone's going to die in this event or even get heat stroke, but it does. There is a reduction in capacity as you go. As we're being attacked by flies here, you can hear a wafty sound. But there's a wafty sound, but they're carrying on moving. And we now look to see how far the lead is. And I think it's still creeping up a little bit. Over the line now comes the 23 of Juan Carlos Canas. And the 94 has got 2 cars between them again in 2.5 seconds. There's plenty of time to do it. Still 27 minutes and 2 laps. So none of those cars ahead of him are the ones he's after. Now, what's interesting, what's about to happen, and has already happened, is the leader has lapped Elliot Boots. So Boots actually now is a lap down. So just going to show the pace these 2 guys have made. Boots, who won the rush, was second yesterday in the 2-legged final, is a lap down. Now, also, obviously, he's also the teammate of Canas. So my guess is Canas got an easy pass. I'm not sure whether it'd be quite so easy for Ongaro. All these drivers, well, perhaps with the exception of Canas, all these drivers are quite good friends. So I don't think they're going to necessarily want to do anything unsporting. Lead at 3 seconds, so it's not looking great for Ongaro at the moment. That lead is slowly creeping out. So Ongaro, who didn't get the pole, was a top qualifier, didn't get the super pole, has led this race on 2 or 3 occasions and made mistakes. Maybe he got the lead because Canas made mistakes. At this point in the race, doesn't seem to have the speed that Juan Carlos Canas has. And he's just coming up now to try and lap the man 1 place ahead of him in 3rd. Ronnefout moving forward all the time and is about to see if he can overtake Valente. There's a huge gap after overtake Robin, and there's a huge gap to Valente, which he isn't going to make up in the time, I don't think. But he may well still get 5th overall if the car carries on going. So the last time round, there's a slight gap. That was lucky's one word for it. What basically happened was that Boots tripped a pipe and then moved out lost a bit of momentum. Luckily, as he drifted out, Ronefelt was able to drift in. And again, there's always cars between them. Always cars between. Actually, it wasn't Ronefelt. Well, so it wasn't Boots. It was actually Brunston who did that. So Brunston was the person who drifted out in the Agama, which is red and black, and I was trying to study times. The lead's coming down, despite that there's still 2 cars between them, and JQ lets... Ooh! And that's it. The lead's changed all in a second there. Just it was suddenly going really, really well. It's all changed. So I'm not sure where the traffic took them, but what happened there? So suddenly, I think there's been a slight problem prior to that in the traffic for Canas, because he lost about a second of a lead, hit the edge of the pipe there, and suddenly he's upside down, and he's a long way behind. He's now 5 seconds off the lead. So from what was looking sublimely, going his way, looking quite easy, a lap ago, his 2.5 second lead has gone to a 4.5 second deficit. And now he has to put he's done it again. Same error. 2 laps in a row. This time he got away with it. Didn't end up with the thing upside down. But he did it with a fishtail. It's lost him a lot of pace. You can tell how much pace he lost with the fact that he got caught up by the following machine of... I'll wait for him to go across the line. Of Robert. So... Ongaro leads by 5.3 seconds with just over 23 minutes to go. He's still trying to lap Boots, and Boots isn't doing anything of it. So let's see if we can get a concentration on Canas. Canas is now about to come under the bridge. Yellow wheels. Here he goes. Now he needs to start getting his head together. That helps. Fuel stop. They're both stopping on the same lap again. A little bit slow up. Canas, not in the same positive position he was in just one fuel stop before. And back to the massive concentration required to drive these cars. It's, every single time you go around the track, theoretically the same, because you're an off-road circuit, it's not the same. You can land differently. You can be a bit of dust that wasn't there before, a bit of traffic that wasn't there before. But Canas just recently won the European 1/8 E-Buggy, which obviously a bit different. That's 3 10-minute finals, but has been doing well in the Spanish Championships, which have long finals, and obviously has been established one of the top racers in Europe for a number of years. Coming up to Zanchetin to put another lap on him. He lost about 3/10 that time round. I'm just kind of wondering at this point, it doesn't seem to look as much... I'm trying to put this in a way that the English makes sense. He doesn't seem to be as much faster than the back markers than he was. I think you can understand what I'm trying to say. He's not passing with the ease. Now, that could be because he's tightened up slightly because he feels under pressure. Or it could be the car's doing a little bit of its speed during the grip. Or it could just be because I'm imagining it. But he lost half a second there. So Ongaro was half a second quicker. So Canas really needs to find something and needs to find it really quickly. Otherwise, Ongaro is going to disappear in the distance. It took him 25 minutes to get in the lead. It took him 35 minutes to get in the lead. But now he's in the lead. He's not going to let it go. Oh, 2 wheels up. Come on, Carlos, you really can't do that because you're going to find yourself dropping back. This is the part of the section where one car looks better than Ongaro, that left-hand set of corners outside of the tunnel, but it's now 5.8. It comes and hops over the ditch. Turns tight. So, puts the power on. Coming up to 20 minutes and 2 laps to go. Let's go down to the pits with Keenan. So what's going on?
JQ is out. Looks like he broke his car. Just took it over to Tech. Unfortunate for him, he was having a good race. So that's 2 cars out so far.
So we lost JQ. So JQ's concept of carrying on till everyone else broke didn't work because he's broken. So JQ now is out. Hampersberg is out. Ronefelt had problems at the start but got going again. And he's now up to 5th. Oh, well, what happened there? Is that a back marker? I think it was. The back marker who got hit there. So it's 7. So it's coming out really quickly now. It's coming out to 7 seconds. And it looks like there is just literally no answer that Canas has for Ongaro at the moment. Ronefelt, so lap behind Boots. Boots has fallen behind Valente, which is interesting. I don't know whether this is just the fuel strategy, and it'll change back again in a second. I think it was. But it's now 7 seconds almost. This is the forlorn chase at the moment for Juan Carlos Canas. Over the triple and the double. Driving hard the whole way. I mean, he probably feels he's just, he probably doesn't understand where the pace has gone, but, and in fact that last lap it didn't go, he's actually about 3 tenths faster, so it's a 20.8 for Ongaro, 30.8 for Ongaro, and 30.5-ish for Juan Carlos Canas, 30.7 for Boots. So Boots was behind Valenti just because it was the fuel stops. They're very, very close, and then you've got Ronefalk kind of marooned in 5th. He's like a lap behind and 20 seconds ahead, so the interesting thing that without that breakdown, we're probably looking that Ronefalk would have been running 3rd. Ifs and buts, I realise. He would be running 3rd, probably around about 15 to 20 seconds off the back of these two. But obviously you drive differently if you're lapping rather than being lapped. Good lap that time round again for Canas. And Valente has managed to get past Boots, who made a mistake. So Valente's now got past Boots. Canas gained 3 tenths that one. It'll take him 20 laps to get there. He gained 3 tenths of time. What's he gained this time? Was that a mistake from... No, it's Hesse. I thought it was Ongaro. Too many cars painting the same colour out there. That time round, it was a 600th of a second advantage to Ongaro. Let's see if we can find Elliott Boots in the 58. This is the other S-Works. We'll leave this leadership battle for a tiny bit, and I'll keep an eye on it. Now, Boots is, I'm not quite sure where he is. He's coming towards the end of the lap with the 58. I'm just trying to see where he is at the moment. In fact, he's coming over the line now with the white wheels. That's the 58, going down the main straight. He's got the first corner. So this is Boots. Now, Boots is in 4th. He was running in 3rd, but Valente's kind of got the better of him. But there's only 2.5 seconds between Valente and Boots. Boots in 4th. Valente is in 3rd. They're a lap down. It's a bit of an S-Works benefit, this product, though, isn't it? So can Boots get back? So he was ahead on pace. He was ahead of Valente, who has shown nothing all day. And suddenly the final is right there again. But Boots in that particular lap, he lost another 4 tenths. No, he didn't. Completely ignore that. And Boots in that last lap, he gained 4 tenths. Let's get that maths right, Nicholas. So Boots now fighting for the 3rd place. Canas now 5.7 behind, so getting a couple of tenths that time round, but it's nothing spectacular. And realistically, Ongaro is more than a mistake ahead. That blue flash you see ahead, and now you're looking at Elliott working hard. His girlfriend or fiancée and daughter have turned up to wish him well, Federica and the little one. Because he doesn't live very far away, and obviously with the Rossi family who produced the Reds engines. Because Rossi is red. Rossi is Italian for red. It's amazing. So Boots there got that down to 3 seconds. That time around he was a little bit slower. So it's kind of real ebb and flow between him and Valente. Valente really is fantastically improved. I think, you look at Valente, look at Robert, and you look at Hampus Berger's been unlucky. 3 great performances by some of the younger European racers. I think Canas is checking his lead. Canas is gaining. Canas has gained another 8 tenths of a second over the last few laps, but he's still over 5 seconds behind. Boots is actually dropping off. It's interesting. Valente appears now, having been slower to begin with, to have a little bit more speed in the car. He gained another couple of tenths there. Boots, you could see, went a bit too wide coming at the end of the invisible speed jump. This time round, Canas is only 3.8 seconds behind. So Canas actually putting a bit of a run in. I think that's because they had another fuel stop. I do think that Canas is a little bit quicker in the fueling than the David Ongaro team at the moment. It may just be they've got a bit better position in the pit lane. And there's Boots. So Boots is 6 seconds behind Valente now. He just stops on the fuel. That's because I think he's slowing down for it. Boots flies over the bridge. Red car, white wheels, white wing underneath the tunnel now. Accelerates up and over. And comes over, start, finish. Fire the car over, start, finish. Canas lost about 8 tenths of a second there. So now still with Boots, who's scored. So Valente's on a very different fuel strategy. He's scored at about 12 seconds ahead. I think actually he may have stopped in the last lap. Still running. Brunsden, Martin, Zanchetin, Robin, Hesse and Ronefalk, as well as Boots, Valenti, Canas and Ongaro. Canas out to 4.5 seconds, so there's kind of a traffic ebb and flow going on there. Ronefalk running around, I'm sure, spectacularly frustrated. Yeah, Valenti's 12 seconds ahead. Valenti's done a great job. What I think we'll do is we'll try and pick up a bit of Leonardo Valenti action. Fortunately, on the blue and white cars, all 4 of which are running, so I've got to identify which one it is. And it's actually the second of the blue and white cars going on the main straight now. Onto the first corner, yellow wheels. That's Leonardo Valenti from the Beach RC team. So Valenti has had a particularly torrid day, it seemed, but has turned that round with a great final performance. So another one of the S-Works drivers. Going fast. 2 cars out so far. Others be looking there. The 2 in the next door. So Valenti and Boots are right next to them. You can see by the fact that their heads are nowhere near each other, but they're not anywhere in a similar part of the track. That gap's now 11 seconds. Sticks for Boots and a wheel for Valenti. And that is Valenti. You saw his head drifting there to the right as he looks to the far left of the track. Canas still 5 seconds behind Ongaro. That's not really changed. He's gone up and down 2/10 either way over the last 5 or 6 laps. This man Valenti is 28 seconds behind Ongaro. Interesting, that means he's actually been lapped by Ongaro but not by Canas. I'm just wondering whether that was just himself unlapping himself. No, it's not. Ongaro is just ahead of him. And that's Tom Robin behind him. I just watched Canas coming into the braking zone. The car looks a bit shuddery, so whether that was a particular individual braking issue or whether he's beginning to suffer with a little bit of tyre slip, I'll have to find out. Ongaro's lead goes down 4/10 that time. I wouldn't read anything into it. In for fuel comes. Oh, that's not great. That's not great. That's going to cost him a couple of seconds. And out goes Valenti now. But he'll retain his 3rd place. Because despite lousing up the movement, now it's not going to go well. Now that's not going to go well at all. I think that's going to put Boots back past him again. Quite a long bit of it. They're right together actually. So no, Valenti has dropped, I think, behind. Okay, see what happened there again. Because that was a real crash-a-thon for Valenti. He comes up and over. I think it's initially his mistake. Yeah, and then he gets piled into, and the whole thing goes horribly wrong. So Valenti crashed into, I think, Robin. But it's fine now, wants to talk to me. So the lead goes down to 7.8 seconds. Ongaro and Canas is 5 seconds, and it's a lap back to Valenti. That accident meant that Canas got past him as well, I think. Just check this as they come round and go past me. Is Canas ahead of Valenti? Looks like it. So Canas now is 4.9 seconds behind. So in the past 4 or 5 laps, the actual lead itself is doing nothing whatsoever. Let's pick up a look at the man who's particularly unlucky, and that's David Ronefalk. Ronefalk now is just at the top of the circuit. He's going to turn round, white car with the red numbers. That's the giveaway, the red numbers. About to come over the quintuple. That's the triple. That's the double. So in basic speed, there's nothing wrong with what David's done. Unfortunately, at the end of the first lap, luckily, in some ways, he actually rolled over timing and scoring before the car stopped. So he didn't lose the lap by being brought back. But he rolled back into the pits. The pressure pipe, the pipe which linked from the exhaust to the fuel tank, in fact, he pressurised the tank to act like a fuel pump, had come off or had broken. Took them just over a lap and a bit to put it back together again and restart the car, because obviously the car has fuel starvation, so it doesn't start immediately. And since then, he's been really trying to battle his way all the way through. He is now, I would say, probably to the point where he would realise that even if he hadn't broken down, his best result might have been a third. He's not really had the pace in the second half of the race of the 2 leaders. So there's big shouting going on there. So the lead is now 4 seconds. Oh, Canas has been scored in the lead. Canas is scored in the lead. The lead's changed off camera. So we need to find Canas. Canas is at the top of the, is about to go the triple and the double. Here comes the triple double. And that's Canas. He's just ahead of Ongaro. So Ongaro is just ahead. So it's just a second that time last time round. So absolutely all over the top. And they come in for fuel again and just release them. So obviously Ongaro, mate, we heard the shouting. Couldn't work out what it was. It must have been a problem for Ongaro. And it was a problem that was 6 seconds worth of a problem for Ongaro. And that has meant that in the lead has gone Canas. But he's leading by not very much with 9.5 minutes to go. The other blue and white cars are letting the main blue and white car through. And as they get grubbier, the distinguishing marks between the four of them, it gets less and less and less. The 2 cars have resigned or retired. Neither of them are blue and white, which is unfortunate. Only for colour, not for the people involved, just because of colour identification. But it was all going so well for Ongaro. Then an accident, the whole crowd started shouting, and that was it. So Boots may have lost the lap in that one, maybe a scoring issue on there. But so hold the Boots thing with a pinch of salt. He's dropped back a lap. So that may come back and he may actually be running in 4th. But right together now, Ongaro and Canas, as they go down the straight. And they come round onto the quintuple with 8 minutes to go. So what was kind of disappearing into a race we were just showing everyone else who was going round, suddenly, and we saw, 5 minutes where the lead didn't change by a couple of tenths either way. So right engaged again, and it's fired up massively by the... Oh, it's a mistake again there. But I think he's got away with it. It's only cost him a small amount of time. And Canas comes over the quintuple. Oh, and going very, very wide. So Ongaro, a bit closer this time. It was 1.3 last time, not 1.3 now. Now at this point, these guys are running pretty much on slicks, I would expect. And just to say that, fantastic bit of four-wheel drift from Ongaro as he goes underneath all the paving section, which is a little bit less grippy than the dirt. So, RCGP round 4 here at the Ospy Team in Gussago in Italy suddenly builds up to it was incredibly intense. For the first half hour, we had a kind of a quiet rest for about 15 minutes, and now for the last few minutes, it's right back on again. It's Ongaro versus Canas. It's been Ongaro versus Canas all weekend, sometimes on the track, sometimes at the start, sometimes in the pits where their dads will be having a row. So, certainly, this is a charged battle. This is a battle that means something to both the drivers here. Spain versus Italy, of course, as well as S-Works versus Associated. And Canas holding on again, but once behind, Ongaro just seems to have that ability to find better. He just gives him a nudge that way, pushing, he's helping him round. Don't help Canas round. He's got enough speed in his own. And it's down to, again, half a second. Canas and Ongaro. Choose your favourite. Over the ditch jump. Realistically, this doesn't need an awful lot of commentary at this point because we're just watching 2 fantastic racers trying to duke it out on cars that are 52 minutes old, and needing, well, certainly needing new tyres realistically. Good lap there for Canas. He's gained a couple of tenths, but you know, it's down the point where they can't make mistakes, and every single change of leadership has been down to, and again, lack of slap landing and going to get inside. No, not quite. It was a slap landing. Took all the momentum out of Canas over the quintuple there, but he just had enough to get across the track and stop Ongaro getting past. Very fair driving by both of them so far, which, given the fact they had a bit of a argy-bargy for virtually the whole of yesterday, it's good to see they've left that in the boxes on the pit table and not taking it to the track. But there was a chance, well, half a chance I suppose you'd say, for Ongaro. And having made the mistake the previous time, you can see that Canas took a very measured run up to the quintuple at that point. 2 of them. flying over the invisible speed bridge. We're down to 5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps. And that plus 2 laps, you know, they're one mistake from this race being over and half a mistake from it being the classic. And those plus 2 laps may end up being really important. Now, initially, they split the fuel strategy this time. They've been coming in at the same time. Off goes Ongaro. Stay with Ongaro, because Knaus will come in the next lap, and my guess is the battle will be rejoined. Of course, this is the last stop, so you've got a bit more flexibility with it. You can stop early or stop late. And perhaps what they're feeling is that perhaps they've stopped Ongaro early to give them clean space for a couple of laps. That would be excellent tactics. If you've got like a minute and a half where you don't have to stop, then it's an excellent tactic to run through, try and get some clear track, and actually do what the old-fashioned F1 undercut. So is that what they're trying? Are they trying an undercut? I can just say that it wasn't a case of Knaus coming in that time. So 6.6 seconds is the lead. That shows you how fast fuel stops are. But has Ongaro got the basic ground speed now? It wasn't a particularly fast lap by Knaus last time round. Can he overtake him on the pit stop? Are we going to see a classic bit of pit stop strategy, pit stop magic, work Davide Ongaro ahead of Juan Carlos Knaus? Trying to keep an eye on Knaus. See, Knaus comes in for fuel now. Right, so Knaus in the stop. He's into the hands of Jerome Sartell. The gun is in, the gun is out. He's going down the line, and it's going to be so close. They come out together almost, and whoa, that's as close as it's going to get. It almost worked. He's got him. Oh, they hit each other. Whoa, what's happening now? Wait, we need to see what happened there. They came out together. So we look at it, come to the top. They came out together, came up there into the Italian corner. Right. So what happens? Oh, yes, it's absolutely 6.5 dozen the other. But what happened was, effectively, as you can see, Knaus went up on 2 wheels. The momentum that Ongaro had pushed him right into the back of him. And unfortunately, it meant Ongaro's probably lost about a second in that instant, but it certainly wasn't in any way. Neither of the drivers at fault for that. That is, if you look at the dictionary and look under racing incident, that's the picture you'll see. That's the replay you'll see of a racing incident. The other driver's now getting out the way. Ongaro, good tactics, nearly got himself past with just using a fuel stop tactic. Lost a bit of drive out that corner, actually. But now, with 2 minutes and 59 seconds, plus 2 laps to go, they are back joined again in what has turned out to be an absolute classic of a race, where, effectively, when we get to the end of this 59-minute race, we will have had these two guys in one form or another on camera for probably about 49 or even not 52 minutes of it, because they've always been battling together. Now, actually, Knaus had a better half lap, and he's looking a little bit more relaxed. He's certainly more than half a second ahead. But Ongaro knows what to do, knows how to drive it. And he comes round and through. So, what's the gap this time round? My guess is probably, I was going to say about 0.9. It's actually 1.1. So, not a great lap for Ongaro, and he can't really afford not great laps at the moment. 2 minutes 14 to go. The back marker moved out the way by some pretty clever marsh. Ooh, really pushing now on Ongaro. Got away with that. He was bicycling around on 2 wheels there. Now, I'm not overly sure whether he needs to push. He just needs to get those laps in, but I think he can then get pressure on Knaus. He's certainly not 1.1 seconds behind now. 2 minutes to go, 2 laps. 2 minutes and 2 laps, so at least 5 to go. Over he goes this time around 0.9, so 2/10 gain. He knows, Ongaro knows he needs to get himself into the peripheral vision of Knaus. So Knaus starts thinking about starts thinking more about Ongaro than he's thinking about where he's going to drive his car. It's the advantage of being in the lead. You can completely push people effectively out the way by using your sheer force of will. And there he's getting close now as he comes around up and over, down to 1 minute and 22. So I think they're going to get 4 more. They might get 5 more, and they're right together as they go down the straight again. So Ongaro, 0.3 now. But this is when the other well-known saying in motor racing comes in: catching is one thing, passing is another. And certainly been proven on this track, passing is another, because you do run the super tight line. If you do run the super tight line, what you get is you get the cars backing out the whole time, and then they can't get past. .4 that time, but it's a case really where Ongaro needs to pick a space to get past. Can he do it? Over the ditch. They have 35 seconds, so they're going to get this one, and they're going to get 3 more. So there's 3.5 laps to go as they flow backwards and forward over the invisible speed bridge. Sure, the people in the pit to tell him how long there is to go. They're at the inside, but not enough. Trying that tight line. It kind of runs out of ability to get there at some point. It just drifts out. The back marker goes for fuel, I think politically probably to get out of the way. And Canas and Ongaro begin T-3 laps. Next time over the line there'll be 2 to go because the time will expire in 3, 2, 1, 0. 2 laps to go. Canas and Ongaro, setting up an absolute classic race here, classic duel. 2 of the big heavyweights European racing duking it out for an hour. And my, had they duked it out. They both had times in the lead. Both times we thought, well, that one's got it. 2 laps to go. Ongaro half a second back. It's going to take something really special now. Or an unfortunate error from Canas to change it because it's such an advantage to be ahead at this track. Oh, and Ongaro losing drive. I'm losing my voice. Just this tiny bit to go now. There's one more lap. I think Canas can smell victory. Canas can feel victory. Canas can touch victory, but he hasn't got victory. He hasn't won it yet. There's many a corner. Ongaro is just going to keep on putting the pressure down. They start the last lap, and there is 1 second between them, and it is absolutely looking like Canas has got the overall advantage. Only going to be Canas who can lose this one. Ongaro can't make up a second. It's just Canas who could lose it. Can Canas put the... Oh, he just... Oh, and there's a roll over there for Ongaro, and it's all ended on the last lap. Canas just has to do a few more corners. He knows he's won it now. Juan Carlos Canas will take the win. The S-Works driver, the Spaniard, takes RCGP Race 4, Round 4 with an absolute hour-long classic. Second place is going to be Davide Ongaro. Third, Leonardo Venti. And 4th will be Elliott Boots in a classic race in every sense of the word. Fantastic driving by all of them. In the end, Ongaro lost by 3 seconds, but realistically lost by about 0.2 because they're running so close together. Boots is going to be 4th. He got the lap back. Ronnefalk 5th, which he'll probably take after his issues before. And then 5th will be Hesse. 7th Ronnefalk, 6th Hesse, 7th Robban, 8th Martin, 9th Zanchetin, 10th Brunsden, 11th Quad Green. So here it is, the actual proper result. Juan Carlos Canas is in 1st. Ongaro is 2nd. Valente is 3rd. Elliott Boots is 4th. And I think we really need to give a massive round of applause to both Juan Carlos Canas and David Ongaro for a fantastic race. Well done, Leonardo Valente. Excellent work. Then you've got Ronnefalk, Hesse, Robin, Martin, Zanchetin and Brunsden. And Josie Quagri and Hampersburg didn't make the trip. So that's the unfortunate side of it all. So we'll soon have a point score, and I think that Lefty will be taking the drivers into the interview phase. He's the man of the celebration there with Jerome Sartell. Let's get some driver wrangling. So you need to talk to Leonardo Valente. He was 3rd. Davide Ongaro was 2nd, and Juan Carlos Canas was your winner.
All right, we're here with our 3rd place winner, Leonardo Valente. A very good weekend for you. Tell us about your 60-minute final.
Oh, that was a tough one, really tough one. I started from the back in 10th place because I had really bad qualifying this morning. I got caught in a really big accident in the first few corners, so I was like dead last, if not last, like really, really close to be dead. But like, you know, the final is 60 minutes, everything can happen. So we just try to stay focused. The car and the tires were working really good. Also the engine was working flawlessly throughout the whole race. So I'm really happy.
Excellent position for you. You won RC2 back in 2019. You come 3rd at RCGP. You are the true success of RC2 leads to RCGP. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling really happy. I think during these 2 years, I've been improving a lot. Also, as I said in the interviews yesterday, I think it's also because in Italy we have a really high level. I'm used to race with Davide, Berton, Baruffolo, Zanca, Polito, and all of these guys. You have to push really hard to stay on front.
Okay. Well, good job, man, and congratulations. All right, our 2nd place is Davide Ongaro. Davide, hard race for you. What was your plan on going into the 60 minutes?
I mean, I was first, and then I take something on the debris, maybe the dirt or a stone. But yeah, 2nd place is okay, happy.
You and Canas battled in the entire 60 minutes. Some clean races. You had a few coming together. Are you happy with the way you and Canas ran just now?
Yeah. I mean, I touch him and I wait him, so this is how I race. So yeah, I'm happy about everything. Thanks to everyone, and yeah, see you next time in England, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you in England. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're looking for Juan Carlos Canas. Juan Carlos, felicidades.
Gracias.
How you was feeling good at the end of the qualifications. You had an intense battle with Ongaro. You are coming off a fresh EFRA e-buggy win. Tell us about your 60-minute final.
Yeah, it was at the first I go a little bit slower than Ongaro, but also for save some tires. But after 40 minutes, all people go without tires, and it's more driving. You need to drive more than have a good tire or something. So at the 20 last minutes, I was okay. 2 or 3 mistakes, but after a little bit faster than Ongaro, but after 60 minutes, 2 seconds of difference is crazy.
You and Ongaro have been having some battles on and off the track. We're going into the Euros here soon and then RCGP. How do you feel about you and Ongaro at the moment?
I don't know. Relationship is like always. It's good. It's not bad, but I don't know. Maybe yesterday with the starting gates like that is for all people. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Well, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing what you do here in round 3. Good job.
Okay,
and we'll take it over to you, Nick.
Thank you, Lefty. Some happy drivers, some intermediate drivers, and a chuffed a bit Spaniard there. So I think what we do before we get to the prize ceremony, what we'd like to do is have a look where that's left our overall standings at the end of round 4. Well, Ronafunk has managed to retain his lead because he came back well from that terrible start. That 5th place, I think, is going to feel like a win for David. And he has 58 points. Ongaro scored 47 points this weekend, a couple of points off the maximum. He could have got like 53, so he'll have to go and improve significantly. And he takes over 2nd place. Juan Carlos Canas, with that win after the disappointment he had yesterday, he has 37, so he's climbed up. Obviously, they're still both behind Joe Bornholst, who took part in row 1, and Cole Tollard is in 5th. Elliott got 33 points over the course of this weekend as well. Hammersberg, very unlucky to break down, but still got 15. Lee Martin got up 16 points with solid finishes. Leonardo Valente, nice 3rd place today. That's given him a hatful of points of 28. And JQ, Joseph Quagreen, with 10, despite having the problem he had flaming out. Max Hessley, I think he'll be pleased with 19 points for his guest appearance. He's got full-size racing to do, and it must be nice to come here and be competitive and not be outshone. So, effectively, we leave this now, a run-off out from Ongaro, but Ongaro's already kind of unwound most of the stagger of not being in the first race. Teams. Well, S-Works, thanks to that win from Juan Carlos Canas, take a chunky lead now and also won this event. They got 70 points during the course of the weekend to 62 for Scuderia Scampi Rosso Team Associated, 135 from 120. Mayako Factory Team, they got they're unlucky really. Rollo out bad start. Hampersburg with a broken servo, it just got 38. Big gain with Valente and Hesse. They got 47 beat RC, and they're now chomping at the bit of Mayako Factory Team with Agama, Nemo Agama with 61, and Invisible Speed JQSM have 55. So let's start with a bit of RC2. So the RC2, we have the lovely Evelyn to give the trophies out. Lovely Evelyn. Ciao, ciao. There we are. You're pointing the camera nowhere near where she is. Ciao, ciao. Okay, we'll start with the RC2 presentation. And in 10th place was Neo Chifo. Neo! It's your plaque there.
All RC2 A main finishers to the trophy presentation. All RC2 to the A main trophy.
In 9th place was Pascal Braun.
Now, all A finalists for RC2 to the trophy presentation, please. Now.
In 8th place was Andrea Cairoli. Happy man. In 7th was Luis Godino. Luis?
Godino.
Here he comes. In 6th place was Scott Walker. Fifth was Rene Koenig. Fourth was Davide Terenghi. Oh, I didn't get 14 as well. Sorry, I didn't saw the top 10.
It's okay, it's okay.
In 3rd was Felix Kogler. Third. And onto the podium. 2nd place was Gabriel Astorino. And your winner was Thomas Musso. And worryingly for Thomas's hands, Thomas was also the TQ holder, so he got another trophy to good. So TQ is also Thomas. No. TQ as well, more trophies. Thank you very much. Now you can have a go at the champagne, boys.
Thank you very much.
I do apologise. These 4 were handed afterwards. When they come back, we will try and do the presentation for RCGP. Oh, yeah, can we have every RC2 finalist in the photo, please? Good idea, Lewis. You got all the RC2 together.
All RC2 finalists in the photo, please. All RC2 finalists in the photo. All finalists in the photo, please.
Which position were you in?
It's Leon.
Leon. I got given these a bit late. 13th, were you?
I don't know where I was. It's on 13.
Sorry about this. I've got Leon's 13.
Yeah, no.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Max, du gehst jetzt nach vorne damit. Komm.
Here comes everybody. Upset one person. Thank you all. If you can clear all the stuff away. Okay, now it's time for RCGP finals lists. So let's get ready to do that, shall we? Everyone's here. Are they all here? Everyone around? So you need to go over there. There we go. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, beg your pardon. But the RC2 finalists, who was on 11th, who was on 12th?
11 was a cop who was in Manchester.
And moment, and Leon Zera? 13. Oh, well, that's wrong, but
okay.
Because he was 11th on 12th.
Okay, time for the presentation to RCGP. Always goes wrong somewhere. Okay, so first of all, that's a fantastic final. And in third place was Leonardo Valente. In second place was Davide Ongaro. And your winner was Juan Carlos Canas. Oh, Davide's getting prepared here. And TQ was also Juan Carlos Canas. And with Super Bowl winner there, and we also have our points leader. David Rollerfalk is our points leader, wherever he is. Where's Dave? Oh, there's Dave. Points leader? Hold it all up high, gentlemen. Give me a big smile. And now the champagne, I'm going to run away. So with that is the end of the presentation. It's also the end of all our fun here at Cusago. We will see you again on RCGP. Thank you very much. See you again on RCGP at the beginning of August at the Nemo Raceway. Until then, goodbye from me, goodbye from the team, goodbye from everybody, and goodbye from Italy, where it's way too hot.